I got into Bitcoin a little bit more than 10 years ago as a way to seek an alternative to the status quo, right? And that status quo is probably best represented by the U.S. empire, whether that's the dollar system, but just in a general sense, the U.S. empire.
The wars, and it manifests in different ways in different realms of society, right?
Yeah.
But the money is a big one.
And this morning, Senator Loomis, she had this announcement. The language, look at the language of her announcement. She literally cites that a strategic Bitcoin reserve will strengthen the US dollar. This is a paragraph statement that she released, right? This isn't some buried thing in the appendix. They're saying the quiet part out loud now that this is about extending the US empire, right? This is a way that they see to extend the US empire, and that's not something that I support.
That's not what I signed up for.
Yeah, that's not what I signed up for. Right? That's not what Bitcoin's supposed to be. And I think it's a time preference thing, because and it's a price thing too, right? There's number go up and freedom go up, and often it's the same thing. Often when the price goes up, it's good for freedom. This would be great for price if the US government started buying Bitcoin. I don't know if there's anything that would be more bullish for the price of Bitcoin.
I don't think so.
It would be incredibly bullish for the price of Bitcoin. But at what cost, right? I think the greatest potential of Bitcoin is to create a different future, to create an alternative future, one in which we don't have centralized institutions that dictate our lives to us. And the US empire isn't part of that, right? Isn't part of this future that I want to see. So I don't want to strengthen it. And I think, the price of Bitcoin is going to go up, whether the US government is buying it or not. It just changes the amount of time that it takes, right? It would get to $1 million pretty fast if the US government started buying Bitcoin. It'd get there much slower if they didn't.
But it'll get there.
But it will get there. And as Bitcoiners, we shouldn't have this mentality of this very instant gratification sort of mentality,
high time preference.
Yeah, high time preference. Don't think what's best for the price of Bitcoin next month. Think what's best for my children, what's best for my grandchildren. And it's not this. It's not the US government doubling down on their dominance on the world, right? And I don't mean to be too anti-US. It's not about just the US government. It's about large centralized institutions that control and dominate the current world. I don't want them to control and dominate the next world. I don't want them to just paint themselves orange and say they're, now things are different. We're Bitcoiners now. Things aren't different. If large centralized institutions dictate our future, then we've missed a massive opportunity to reimagine what's possible with this Bitcoin revolution.
We see potentially, like Cynthia Lummis, I saw her profile. It's Lummis, like hummus. It's not Loomis. I always said Loomis. Lummis like hummus. And she's the new crypto asset director or whatever. And she really wants to treat Bitcoin reserve, like you said, to strengthen the US dollar, which everyone's like, yeah, woohoo. Wait a minute. Is that what we're here for? So Eric V. Stacks had a really good point that he brought up in here a while back. And he's like, look, at the end of the day, am I going to vote for Trump or Kamala? All that's kind of a joke. It's, the whole show, the whole clown show. But, and this is, some paraphrasing his idea. I'm not necessarily saying this is my idea, but Bitcoin on the balance sheet could be the only way to avoid some economic apocalypse with the amount of debt the dollar's in, just the whole shit show that is the U.S. economy and the dollar being printed. There's nothing else. So to put it on the balance sheet, to print that money, to buy hard money, to buy sound money, it could theoretically be a way to avoid some serious economic fallout. But on the other side of the spectrum would be, I think Max Kaiser said it, if you're going to row 10 miles offshore, you got to row back.
I don't think that we should be taking buckets to throw water off of a sinking ship, right? I don't think we should be trying to repair the hull. I think we should be building new boats.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Boats.
This is like, okay, the ship's sinking, so this is gonna keep it afloat. Like,
for how long will it keep it afloat, you think?
Potentially a while.
Yeah, huh?
Potentially a while. Potentially this is like gonna significantly extend the US empire. And it's not like a one, if this happens, it has such a big impact. It would be a series of actions, this just being one of them. But it's the same thing, from being controversial, then I think USD stablecoins are part of the same package, right? The growth of USD stablecoins also perpetuate the dollar system, which perpetuates the US empire.
But you don't think things like Tether are just necessary in a globalized world where everyone uses the dollar as the unit of account? Like, people want to swap into dollar so they can save. Like in Argentina, they're finally starting to come onto Bitcoin. But I remember like 5 years ago when we were stuck there for COVID, no one knew about Bitcoin. They wanted to save in dollars. I'm like, no, don't do that.
Right.